Morning. I decided that I was going to do a supplementary video to go with the live stream meditations, just in case you either haven't meditated before, or we haven't met, so you don't know my style, or you just want some clarification. Having said that, this is what works for me. I don't know what works for you. So the first thing is that over the years, I have decidedly unfine-tuned my sitting in terms of physically sitting. So when I very first came to meditation and learned the right way to sit Zazen, which is sitting meditation in Zen, there are pointers, and as time goes by I realise that these really are pointers. Some folk take them as being fundamental to meditation practice, and if that's your bag, I'm very happy for you. I've changed my mind over the years. I don't think that how one sits is necessarily the way forward in terms of giving ourselves a hard time for trying to achieve something. For some of us it's impossible to sit cross-legged for a start in the lotus position, and yes, there's an argument to say, you know, keep with it, it's moving through that, it's just another example of stuff that we don't like, and becoming familiar with that and just ploughing on is good for us and blah blah blah. Yeah, well, you know, I've got so much shit going on in my life that I could use that as an example. I don't need to add anything else. This is what I've realised over the years. So I've largely let it go. However, some aspects are quite sensible just in terms of how long I can sit comfortably. So I'm going to go through the official Zen way to sit, as I understand it, and how I've tweaked it over the years a bit. So, cheers, cup of tea. We sit with a solid, grounded base. Now I really like this because I do totally feel that being physically grounded just feels good, knowing that I'm physically grounded. So if I'm sitting on a chair, having both feet on the ground, feet apart, so that we're like a tripod, so that we've got a real good tripod base going on. So you've got your bum on the chair and your feet on the ground. If you're sitting, I'm sitting cross-legged on the sofa at the moment. This is my favourite way to sit, because I can sit for longer because all the padding in the sofa. Some people sit on a meditation cushion. I used to do that. I do still do it when I'm in Greece. And there are a number of ways that you can sit. But so long as you're sitting on the meditation cushion and you feel grounded, if you're perched on top of a meditation cushion and your knees are going like that and you're wobbling all over the place, it's probably better to prop yourself up, get some more cushions and put them under your knees. The most important thing is that you are in some way feeling as though you've got a good solid base. And then moving up to the back. So there are all sorts of ways that this is described. Sitting as though your spine is a pile of coins, or sitting with dignity, John Kabat-Zinn says. Sitting with a back that's straight but not tense is what I normally say, but do you know what, I just say that. They're just words that come out, and I don't think they're particularly helpful. So sit in a way that means that you can sit comfortably. Some folk just can't sit straight. So we might start off sitting quite straight, but if you find yourself, or if you just want to start supported, that's a much better word. Feel supported, so whether that's you're supported by your own spine and its uprightness, or whether you're using the support of cushions or the back of the chair, that's okay. The most important thing is that you're doing something that you believe you can maintain for 20 minutes, or longer or shorter, whatever your meditation practice is. I'm just going to say 20 minutes for now, because that's what we're doing live streaming on Facebook. So making sure that you feel supported. So supported by the earth or the chair, under your bum, under your feet. Supported with your cushions, or supported by your own spine. Hands resting in your lap in a way that feels comfortable for you. There are loads of ways to have your hands. There are some people who have their hands like I love this jumper. I love this jumper. I'm in my pyjamas. I'm always in my pyjamas at home. And I love this jumper. I can't throw it away yet. Marie Kondo did the Marie Kondo thing, and she said, what sparks joy? And I'm afraid it sparks joy. So please excuse me. Let me roll that up. So we can either sit with our hands like this, one hand on top of each other, thumbs almost touching but not quite. So Hilary, the very first meditation teacher I had, said you should sit and imagine that your thumbs are holding an ant. So you don't want to kill the ant by squishing it, but neither do you want to let the ant go by dropping it. And it can be a really good barometer of whether if we're really concentrating hard, you'll kill the ant. Pushing on together. If you're daydreaming or fantasizing and off in the future, you'll drop the ant, generally speaking. So that might work for you. Sometimes I do that, not very often. In Rinzai Zen, the lineage that I come from, there is we sit with our hang on, can I do it? Yes, we sit like that. So just one hand in the other, resting in our laps. That's generally how I sit, actually, because it's the most comfortable for me. Some people do the whole, Hindi thing on their knees. Whatever, doesn't matter. Whatever floateth your boat. Where are we up to? Neck. So we want to keep our necks, a chin over the breastbone is a good idea. Try and keep everything as soft as possible though. Shoulders down. So neck long. I have a tendency to, when I'm doing neck long, either to do neck long by looking down, which is not ideal, or when we're daydreaming, you'll notice that your chin goes up. So that's another great mindfulness exercise, just to see where your chin's at. My best advice is make sure it's balanced on your head. I kind of figure it is, so that'll do. Tongue against the roof of the mouth, and the mouth closed. Now the theory behind that is that in traditional Chinese medicine terms, energetic terms, you've got yang runs up the back and yin comes down the front, and the connecting point is the roof of the mouth. On a more practical level, supposedly it stops one salivating too much. I've never found that. I've just become really used to doing that, and it does feel grounding to me to do that now, but that might just be because I've been doing it for a really long time. Got really dry mouth. Vision. So either following the bridge of the nose, so like following down the bridge of the nose, having a soft focus. You're going to end up about 18 inches in front of you. So either having the eyes open but not looking. If you look, then you're engaging the brain unnecessarily. You don't need to look. Just have a soft focus, soft gaze. So sort of like spacing out a bit. Or we can have our eyes closed. I go from one to the other. In Soto Zen, we sit, which is another tradition that I've followed, we sit on cushions and we face a blank wall. It's a great wall. And we have our eyes open and we just gaze at the wall. A blank wall is great because it's encouraging, there is nothing to see, there is nothing to get engaged with. Closing our eyes. The thing with closing our eyes is that it's much easier to wander off into deepo fantasy land. But it seems to me that most people are comfortable with their eyes closed. So if that's you, go for it. So have I covered the rudimentals of sitting? I think I have. The most important thing to me is, can we just not make this a stick with which to beat ourselves? I know I go on about this endlessly, but we've all got so much stuff going on, especially at the moment. So can we just take the pressure off ourselves to achieve perfect posture? Because that's just another goal. And meditation is about the dropping away of goals. It's about the dropping away of trying to get somewhere. It's the dropping away of trying to change anything. By consciously trying to change something in the moment, you inhibit the ability for things to change, as they will, inevitably, because everything changes. When we're kind of wanting to change something, and all sorts of contraction goes on and all sorts of holding on goes on physically, and mentally. And both states, whenever we hold on physically or mentally, it has a really poor effect on our health, also our peace of mind. So it's just so lovely. As a day-to-day practice, if you notice yourself wandering around, clenching your jaw, perfect, great mindfulness practice. Just see if you can soften it a little bit. Clenching fists, walking down the street, see if you can soften a little bit. As you can see, I've got years of furrowed eyebrows. That's how it is. I have no issue with my wrinkles, incidentally. But if I notice that I'm doing that, I'm actually much more of a jaw clencher these days. If I notice, that's great. Bearing in mind that we've been doing this shit for a long time, so can we be soft in our attitude towards ourselves as well? Moment by moment, day by day, little micro changes can make have really useful effects. Slowly. Can we let go of the rush to become enlightened? What does that even mean? What does it mean for you? Be honest with yourself. Do you want to become enlightened, or do you just want to not be annoyed by things quite as much? Or do you just want peace? Or do you just want to be happy forever after? Because if you're looking for all those things, enlightenment isn't going to give you them. Because sometimes things aren't peaceful, and sometimes things are people annoy you. People annoy me, and sometimes happy clappy is nowhere to be found. Sometimes it's really hard work. Maybe enlightenment comes from allowing everything just to be as it is. Not fighting. In the moment by moment, just allowing things to be as they are. The great stuff, the shit stuff. Because maybe if we just allow things to be as they are, we'll start to realise that this notion of being great or shit becomes a bit irrelevant. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope that's helpful. Drop me a comment if you would like me to elaborate, or get in touch with me by email. And be good to see you on the Facebook live streaming. I'll add a link.